questions about where city police spend the money from towing fees, and find out how the DeKalb Public Library is working through growing pains. But first, it's a growing problem. Students who can't eat the usual cafeteria food. What's NIU doing about it? NTC News Tonight starts now.
You're watching NTC News, DeKalb County's only television news source, on the campus of Northern Illinois University and from the Northern Television Center. This is NTC News Tonight.
NIU's dining halls are taking a small step forward towards offering gluten-free meals, but not without a little inconvenience and a few hoops to jump through. Good evening, I'm Ericka Burgess. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Trey Ward. Reporter Ericka Wilson explains what NIU is trying to do to get gluten-free meals into our dining halls.
With almost 1 million dining hall meals being served in a single academic year, NIU Dining Services will not prepare gluten-free meals without the request.
They are to bring their medical records, go to health services. Health services will then go over those records, and if they deem the student is truly medically in need of these special foods, then they will contact us, and then we make those foods available to those students.
NIU student Jessica Puckett speaks on the inconvenience of this process.
And change. In terms with the residence halls, I know that they can provide you with a gluten-free meal, but it's a little bit harder considering you have to speak with the supervisor and then the manager at the time that is in the residence halls. You also have to have paperwork, medical paperwork stating that you are gluten-free every time you're in there.
And upon every visit, students have to call dining hall officials so that special meals could be set and ready at their arrival.
Starting fall 2014, dining halls will make changes based on students with gluten allergies.
A senior student will be assigned starting this fall to take on the role and responsibility of integrating with our students and helping them walk through this special dietary program.
And with such changes to come, more students and dining hall employees are expected to be satisfied. Ericka Wilson, DeKalb, NTC News.
Thank you, Ericka. Lawyers for 5 former fraternity members charged after the 2012 death of NIU student David Bogenberger say Illinois hazing law is unconstitutional. Defense attorneys are arguing the state's hazing law is unclear and want a judge to drop the charges against their clients. Bogenberger was pledging the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity. He died after a night of drinking. The men are accused of felony hazing.
DeKalb police are using money collected from the new toll law to buy a variety of questionable items. From the $350,000 collected in toll fees, $300,000 of it was spent on items not included within the regular budget. The mayor says there is nothing wrong with the money being used, but it might require a closer look in the future. Some of the items purchased include food from Jimmy John's, a Chevy Tahoe for $30 grand, and an $80 spill-proof dog bowl. The vehicles that are being towed are those connected with illegal activity. Owners are required to pay $500 to reclaim their vehicles.
The State Environmental Protection Agency plans to hold several household hazardous waste collection events across Illinois this spring. EPA officials say the collections offer a safe way for people to properly dispose of unwanted household products. The collection days are through June and will be offered in several towns, including DeKalb. Examples of hazardous products include paints, cleaners, antifreeze, motor oil, weed killers, and batteries.
94 DeKalb employees found out that they would lose their jobs last month after an electric plant announced its closing. After a 2-month debate, General Electric officials decided to close down the plant after rejecting a cost reduction plan. Out of the 94 employees being laid off, about 44% of them are able to receive retirement benefits. The remaining employees will receive assistance such as tuition reimbursements and medical benefits. General Electric officials are planning to close the plant in 2015.
New management at the Convocation Center hopes to fill the arena with different kinds of events. They want the change to bring in more revenue and bring people from throughout the region. The goal is for the arena to compete with Rockford and Chicago venues. Management will be conducting a survey to see what kind of events the people want. The Convocation Center will still host concerts, but hopes to have trade shows, speakers, and corporate events.
That sure would be nice for the DeKalb community and surrounding areas to have this at their fingertips. And the Convocation Center isn't the only thing changing this year. The DeKalb Public Library is getting a new look. Reporter Tamika Jackson explains how the library is planning to stay in tune with the growing needs of the DeKalb community.
The DeKalb Public Library has been a haven for DeKalb residents like these for over 80 years, offering an extensive book collection, internet access, programs, and other resources. The library is outgrowing the building.
We'll have more space for programs because right now, sometimes during summer reading, we'll have 50, 100 people, sometimes more, and they just won't all fit.
The library expansion will make the facility more accessible for the handicapped, with new additions like elevators and ramps. Also adding more conference rooms so city officials can have more space for meetings. Even though the library is expanding, they're keeping some things the same, like Harry Dumpty. He's been here since 1997. The Children's Department, which houses Harry Dumpty, will also be expanding. They will be moving from the lower level of the library to the second level, where the space will be doubled and equipment will be updated. The library is also transforming the computer lab to a teen center.
New places for the young people to come and have a place to be their own. We'll have a special teen room for them.
One of the goals of the expansion is not to just bring the residents books, but to advance the DeKalb community.
It's a community effort. It's not just the library expanding, it's the community and improving the quality of life for everybody here in DeKalb.
The library expansion is not just about the building, it is about being a resource within the community. At DeKalb Public Library, NTC News, Tamika Jackson.
The library is still in the design phase of the renovation, and construction is scheduled to start this summer in hopes to be finished by 2016.
It will sure be a nice addition to our community. And speaking of summer, I'm loving this warmer weather now that the rain is finally gone.
Meghan Heman is here with us now. What are we looking at tomorrow?
Well, April showers is living up to its name. Lots of rain coming in this week. Let's look at our weather window for tomorrow. Tomorrow, Rockford will have a chance of rain. Moline, DeKalb, and Peoria also have a chance of rain. Chicago and Kankakee will be cloudy and a little bit cooler than the rest of the area. Stay with us. You're watching NTC News.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back to NTC. My name is Megan. Today we have a high 53 and a low of 59, which is actually really nice for this time of year. We're starting to slowly creep back to that normal of 55 degrees for April. Today, we're in this small little area where they're getting no rain, which is kind of a disappointment because the areas north and south are getting some pretty good precipitation, but don't worry, tonight we will get some little bit of rain coming in here, which is what we like to see in the spring. The rain will come into tomorrow, which is also great. Tonight, 40% chance of rain showers, low of 39. Tomorrow, a slight chance of rain showers. We do have 20-mile-per-hour winds coming in, which will be a little bit breezy and a little bit cold, but 54 degrees is pretty nice. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low of 31. Winds still will be stronger, which is all right, but it will be a little bit chilly at night. Looking at our 5-day forecast on Tuesday, we do have a 20% chance of rain. Wednesday, the sun will be coming out. But looking towards the end of the week, we'll be in the mid-60s, which is really nice for those fellow runners out there who are tired of being cooped up inside and ready to stretch out their legs. Saturday, there is a chance of rain, which is kind of a bummer, but for the rest of the weekend, it should be pretty nice. Let's take it back to the desk.
We are hearing more about students who can't eat certain foods, whether it's because of allergies or personal choices.
Veronica Skaradzinski is a nutrition intern here at NIU, and one change NIU is making to help students who can't eat gluten.
So what exactly does being gluten-free mean?
Well, gluten refers to the protein that's in ingredients such as wheat, barley, and rye. So gluten-free means you're avoiding those ingredients, and there's only two populations who really need to avoid those. And those are people who are diagnosed with celiac disease or a non-celiac gluten intolerance.
So is there a common misconception with eating gluten-free being healthier than eating regular foods?
Yeah, actually, more recently, people have sometimes thought of gluten-free as being a healthier option, when in reality, you could have your normal healthy diet, or if you do have celiac disease or that gluten intolerance, you could still make healthy choices with that diet as well. So either option fits all individuals.
Now, is not having a gluten-free option a big problem?
Having gluten-free options are just that, they're an option. So we have our normal foods that we've always had before this kind of big gluten-free movement. So it is definitely possible to make healthy choices without those extra options.
Now, what will University Foods have to do to provide gluten-free options to the students?
Well, as I said, they do have a lot of those options we've always had, you know, fresh fruits and vegetables and those other sources of grains that are naturally gluten-free. But for university services, they've already been making some of those changes by offering some gluten-free breads, as well as avoiding the cross-contamination. I feel like they've already been making those steps towards accommodating gluten-free individuals.
Do you have any advice for students who have to eat gluten-free?
My biggest advice is just pay attention to what you're eating, read those ingredient labels, see if it's made with wheat, and if you need to, if you're not sure if you're gluten intolerant, you know, go get tested to make sure you can confirm that diagnosis.
What is it about these fads? I'm sorry, what were you gonna say? What is it about these fads that people are dieting? Is it a new fad, or what is it with gluten?
We have become better at detecting, you know, how to clearly define what celiac disease is or gluten intolerance. So because of that, sometimes people will hear someone feels better, and that's because they have that medical condition. So they do feel better. And if you don't have that condition, you'll probably feel better even with gluten, but it's your own personal choice as well.
Well, Veronica, we really appreciate you for joining us this evening.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Rebuilding the tornado-ravaged town of Washington, Illinois has a price tag that the town can't afford.
And it's not your average carjacking. A stolen ambulance is found, and Jesse Jackson Jr. is relocated. Let's look at news across Illinois. These are today's state lines.
The mayor of Washington, Illinois, the town that got ripped apart by a tornado last year, says he is not sure if state funding will cover the full cost for the damage that the tornado left behind. He says the initial state aid amount of $45 million will not likely take care of the total costs needed for rebuilding the town.
Authorities say an ambulance that was stolen from a Chicago hospital has been found about 10 miles away. The private ambulance was taken from Stroger Hospital last night while the crew was unloading a patient. It turned up a few hours later in Lyons.
Former Illinois Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. has been moved from the federal prison in North Carolina to a minimum security prison camp in Montgomery, Alabama. Jackson is serving a 2.5-year sentence after admitting to illegally using campaign money.
The spring trout fishing season has officially begun in more than 50 area locations in Illinois. Every year, the Department of Natural Resources applies more than 60,000 rainbow trout in bodies of water where fishing is allowed. Added to the list of locations this year is Lake Mendota in LaSalle County.
Pro-Russian protesters take buildings to show Russian support.
One of the world's worst cases of genocide, 20 years later. Here's what's happening in today's World Watch. In Ukraine, a self-proclaimed legislator representing what it calls the Donetsk People's Republic has announced a referendum on whether the region should join Russia. Pro-Russia protesters have seized state buildings in several East Ukrainian cities that lie close to Ukraine's border with Russia.
Rwanda marks one of the darkest chapters in its history today. A ceremony to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the 1994 genocide is being held in Kigali. The majority Hutu ethnic group was blamed for the slaughter of almost 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus.
Signals detected in the Indian Ocean offer the most significant lead yet in the search for missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. A pinger locator has detected signals consistent with those sent by a flight data recorder and a cockpit voice recorder. Officials have expressed some hope, but are being cautious until they can verify the source of those signals.
Hollywood legend Mickey Rooney has died at the age of 93. A lifetime in film and television kept Rooney active well into his 80s with a cameo role in The Night at the Museum. He was nominated for an Academy Award 4 times and received 2 honorary Oscars. Rooney was married 8 times and made headlines in 2011 as he testified before Congress on abuse of the elderly. And that's today's World Watch.
Hey everyone, Kyle Jacobs here again with more basketball. The madness was overwhelming this weekend as we have our national finalists. Let's look at the Kentucky-Wisconsin game. 5 minutes left. Kentucky down by 4. Andrew Harrison drives the lane, gets it to Alex Poitras for the dunk and 1. Let's take a look at that one more time there. Kentucky leading now. Trayvon Jackson misses the jumper, but Frank Kaminsky right there to put back to tie up the game. Now, 20 seconds to go. Andrew Harris fouls Trayvon Jackson while putting up a 3. He misses the first free throw but sinks the last 2 to get Wisconsin the lead. Again, Andrew Jackson, this time 12 seconds left, throws the ball to his brother Aaron, who nails the 3 to give Kentucky the lead. Kentucky wins it 74-73 and goes on to the championship. Let's turn to the Florida-UConn game. Florida on a roll early. Scotty Wilbekin gets the ball on the break and banks it in off the glass. But Florida up by 12, but UConn doesn't give up. DeAndre Daniels gets the ball and hits the turnaround jumper. UConn up by 5. Shabazz Napier throws an inbound comment to Neil Gaffey for the slam. The crowds just lose it. Connecticut gets the win and will go on to play Kentucky at 8 o'clock this evening. Well, men's basketball isn't the only one seeing Huskies going for the championship, with UConn taking on the ladies of Sanford. Lily Thompson leads at an early charge, fake takes and makes the jumper. Thompson again with a wide open 3 and nails it. UConn rallies. This time Breanne Stewart sinks the jumper, giving UConn the lead. Colleen Mosquita-Lewis gets fed, jumps behind the arc, and drills the triple. Here, Stewart gives it to Kia Stokes, who gives it back for a 3-pointer. UConn wins it 60-43. Notre Dame now starting strong against Maryland. Here, Jewel Lloyd catches the alley-oop. Then Kayla McBride on fire with 19 first-half points, including that basket. Irish leading by 17 at the half, and McBride kept rolling in the second half, hitting the 3 to put the Irish up by 20. Then another jumper puts the lead up by 25. 87-61 win for the Irish, who will play UConn Tuesday at 7:30. But enough about madness for now. We're going to the green for our play of the day. Martin Flores shoots from near the beer tent at the 8, his third to par 5, and throws it high. I mean, obviously it's going it in if we're showing it to you, but let's watch it as it just rolls down the green in and for our play of the day. Madness tonight and tomorrow. Also, tomorrow we have NIU baseball playing ISU at 3 p.m. That's all for sports. Until next time.
Coming up, we'll tell you how a classic video game is back in a big way.
My name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
One video game is celebrating a milestone with a sky-high game display. Check this out. This could be the world's largest game of Tetris. While some people play Tetris on computers and smartphones, a lucky few will get to play on the side of a high-rise. This version of the game was created using computer-controlled LED lights on Philadelphia's 29-story Cira Center. The event was part of celebrating the 30th anniversary of Tetris, one of the best-selling video games of all time.
I can't believe how much electricity it probably took to run that display.
I'm guessing their next electric bill is going to be sky high.
NTC News Tonight is produced and directed by NIU students.
Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of it.
Goodbye, everyone.